Welcome to the BP Gaming Network. We are playing Out of the Park Baseball 21, featuring our Oakland Athletics franchise 2020 season. This is week number 5. So we're progressing along into this new season, and it is April 23rd. And today we have a matchup between the Cleveland Indians and the Oakland Athletics. So it's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be a live game broadcast. So I hope you guys stick around to enjoy that. Before we get to that game, though, this is episode number 3, I believe. So yeah, if you haven't watched the last couple of episodes, you should check them out in our playlist. So before we get to this game, we're gonna take a quick look at how the team has performed so far. So if you remember from our last video, the week ended April 9th, and then we picked up the new week starting April 10th. We did play out a game in that video against the Yankees, and we won that game 4-3. We continued in that series on April 11th against the Yankees. We beat them 4-1. Pitching for Oakland was Chris Bassitt, who had a tremendous outing. He pitched a complete game, going 9 innings, giving up just 1 run. So excellent performance. You can see his ERA is still high, and that's because of the performance he had before this particular game. He hadn't been pitching well for us, and in fact, I was already contemplating maybe demoting him to AAA Las Vegas. I'm used to saying Nashville because that's where our former AAA team used to be. But yeah, man of the match was Chris Bassitt, pitching really, really well for us there. And then the pitcher for New York was J.A. Happ, and he went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 2 runs, 2 earned. So not a bad outing for J.A. Again, his ERA is fairly high as well. And then Zach Britton came in for the bullpen for New York. So that was a tremendous win for us. Offensively, there was a home run by Matt Olson in the 5th inning, and nothing else really stood out in that game. The next game and the last game in that particular 3-game series was April 12th, and we won that game as well. So we basically swept the Yankees. So yay, Oakland. I mean, this is it's a good sign if we can sweep a team like the New York Yankees, especially considering that they're expected to get into the playoffs just like they did last year. And if they do, this is the type of matchup that we should expect, is playing a team like the Yankees and sweeping them this early on in the season. I mean, it's still fairly early, but still it's a good feeling. So we did win this game by 1 run, 4-3 Oakland. And pitching for us was Sean Manaea, our ace supposedly for this year. He, again, just like Chris Bassitt, Sean Manaea was not in good form over the last few games, but in this particular game, he pitched really well. He went 7 1/3 innings, gave up 3 runs. So a tremendous outing for him. The bullpen was also fantastic. Jake Dykman and Liam Hendricks earning the save there. Neither of them gave up a run. For New York, it was their big ace they spent a lot of money on, Gerrit Cole. He went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs, and his ERA, you can see, is 5.40. So Gerrit Cole hasn't had the best start that the New York would have hoped for. But again, it's fairly early in the season. We're still in April. Offensively, Chris Davis was the main man in this particular game. I think he had a couple home runs here. Marcus Semien had a home run in the 8th. Chris Davis had a home run in the 2nd inning and the 7th inning. So good job there, Oakland. So after that series sweep there, we had another 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox. And we went 2 for 1 in this particular series. We won the first game, lost the second game, and we won the last game. So again, quite impressive to beat a team like the Red Sox and win the series. Frankie Montes was pitching for Oakland on this particular night, and he went 7 innings, gave up just 3 runs, 3 earned. So so far, Frankie Montes is just living up to who he has been over the last couple of seasons. I mean, he's been pitching tremendously. So, and he continues. He's got a pretty good start to the season. He's 3-0. And then the bullpen again, Yasmira Petit came in, gave up just 1 run, but overall he's been pitching well. And Liam Hendricks earned his 6th save of the season. Frankie Montes was the main man of the game. For the Red Sox, pitching for them in this game was Derwinson Hernandez. I believe he was the starting pitcher, and then they had a follower coming up, Martin Perez. So not a bad start, and then we lost this particular game. The next game we lost 8-4. Pitching for us was Mike Fiers. He didn't have a good evening. He pitched 5 1/3 innings, giving up 5 runs, 5 of them earned. So yeah, that's just how this one went. The bullpen also struggled. TJ McFarland came in, gave up 3 runs, and then Trevino and Schlitter kind of held off the Red Sox for the remainder of the game, but it was too late. We had already given up enough runs to allow Boston to win this one. The last game was April 15th. We won this game 8-6, and pitching for us was Bert Smith. Bert Smith, who got called up from AAA a couple of weeks ago. He went 4 innings and gave up 4 runs. So not a good outing for him. And then another young pitcher who was called up from AAA as well, Tanner Anderson, who came in from the bullpen and pitched really well in 4 innings, didn't give up a run. And again, Liam Hendricks earned his 7th run. So basically, Liam Hendricks has been lights out here when it comes to giving us wins by holding off the other teams. Marcus Semien was the player of the game, and yeah, there was a lot of offense here. So Tony Kemp had double in the 8th. Matt Olson also doubled. Bravich Valera looks like he also doubled. And Chris Davis, Sean Murphy. So a lot of offense from Oakland. Home runs came courtesy of Matt Olson and Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien actually had 2 home runs, one in the 1st and another one in the 4th inning. For the Red Sox, pitching for them was Ryan Weber, who didn't pitch very well. He went 3 2/3 innings, giving up 5 runs. So that series was split 2-1. Then after that, we had a 4-game series against the Mariners, and we split this one 2-2. So the first game we lost to the Mariners. It was a close game. It was just a 1-run game. So that means tremendous pitching from both sides. And again, Chris Bassitt pitched for us. He went 6 innings, giving up just 1 run. And the bullpen also did a tremendous job. For Seattle, it was Justice Sheffield pitching for them. Also had a good night. He went 8 innings and 2/3. And didn't give up a run. And then their closer earning the save was Taylor Gilbo. I think I'm saying that right. Sheffield was the player of the game. In the next game, we won this game convincingly there, 9-5. And you can see the starting pitcher for Oakland was Manai. He went 6 innings and gave up just 1 run, so a good outing for him there. And then Tanner Anderson and JB Wendelken pitched from the bullpen. Anderson didn't have a good day, giving up 3 runs, and was unable to get out of that inning. For Seattle, it was Clayton Richard starting off for the team. Also didn't pitch very well in just 3 innings, gave up 5 runs, and then relieved by Matt Harvey. So Matt Harvey, I guess, didn't pitch very well either in 1 inning, gave up 3 runs. So yeah, and Marcus Semien was the player of the game. Following that game, we also won the matchup against the Mariners in that game, 5-4, and then we lost the next game, the last game in that series. We had a short break on the 20th of April, and then we started the new series here against the Cleveland Indians. So this is where we started our road trip. We've won the first two games in this road trip against the Indians, and today we get to play the third and last game of the series before we get to travel to Houston and then to Texas, and then we go back home. So that's kind of how the last couple of weeks went as far as performance, and there's also a lot of stuff that happened during that time. So let's quickly go over our major transactions and see exactly what else happened here with the team. On April the 14th, we signed a new minor leaguer rookie player from the Dominican Republic, Frank De La Rosa, and he came through our international free agency. Now, if you look at his ratings right now, I know there's not a lot to really admire there, but he's 19 years old. He is a right-handed pitcher who has very basic ratings at the moment. Doesn't have the best potential or ability at the moment, but if you look at his scouting accuracy, it's quite low. So that means that the ratings and the information you're looking at may not be what it is. So the reason why I decided to pick him up was, he does have, so far, considering his age, 19 years of age, and his velocity can sort of get up to 90 miles per hour. For his fastball, I know his stuff is quite basic right now, but I expect that would change when we start to see a few games out of him as soon as he starts playing for us. So he's currently in our Dominican Rookie League, and when the season starts, we'll monitor him and see how he performs. There was also a couple of changes that happened on April 11th. We had to option Ramon Laureano back down to AAA Vegas. And the reason we did that is not just because of his poor performance so far for the team. It was mainly because we needed to make room for the acquisition that we made when we picked up Breyvic Valera through waivers. So Breyvic, of course, had to go on the 40-man roster and also play in our main roster. So we had to send Ramon Laureano back down. So this is sort of temporary for him, and we expect to see him back up playing for the A's again very soon. So that was more of a necessary move. Also, we had some good news. So AJ Puck finally healed from his injury. If you look at his injury history, he had a shoulder strain for about 4 weeks. So that healed up, and we decided to send him down to AAA for his rehab. So he'll be there possibly for a few more weeks, maybe a couple more weeks, and then we'll call him up. It won't be a long rehab just because his injury wasn't that major. It was not something that requires a long rehab, but I felt it was necessary just to send him back down to AAA just to get a feel of things before we call him back up to the A's to help out the team. So yeah, that is basically that as far as the major transactions that happened over the last couple of weeks for the team. We can also quickly take a look at where the team stands so far, since we're already sort of past halfway of the month. So in the American League West Division, the Athletics are actually leading the division with a record of 16-9. So yeah, outstanding start of the season. Again, it's still fairly early, but you have to get excited about these small wins and as they come, just because you have to find a way to appreciate how the team is performing, even though we still have a long way to go. So yeah, we're leading the division there. Bottom line, that's all I'm trying to say, is that I'm very excited about that. So we've had a good start, and I hope this continues. As far as the rest of the league, that's how things shape up. So in the American League, we are number 1, and then the Blue Jays are number 2, and the Rangers are number 3, followed by the Astros, and then the Cleveland Indians. So, and we play the Indians today. For the National League, it's the Braves leading the league, and then the Diamondbacks, that's a surprise there, the Pirates and the Cubs. So the Diamondbacks and the Pirates, huge surprise. But again, we're still in April, and the Dodgers are somewhere there in 5th spot. The Mets just positioned just below the Dodgers. So yeah, that's kind of how the league is shaping up so far this early into the new season. So with that said, we will now advance to the next stage of today's festivities, which is the matchup between the Athletics and Cleveland Indians. The starting pitchers will be Clay Buchholz and Sean Manaea. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this matchup. So tonight's matchup, pitching matchup, you can see right there, Clay Buchholz pitching for the Indians. So far, he's got a 1-0 record. He's got a 1.84 ERA after pitching 14 2/3 innings, and he has a fairly decent whip. Sean Manaea, on the other hand, he has a 1-2 record. His ERA is 5.97, so not he hasn't had the best start that one would have hoped for. He's pitched in 31 2/3 innings, and his whip is fairly high, 1.45. So that's your matchup for tonight's game. And with that said, we will go ahead and move along, and now we'll take a look at the starting lineup here for your visitors, which is the Oakland Athletics. So the leadoff for Oakland will be Tony Kemp, the center fielder. And you can see Marcus Semien there standing out so far with his performance into this new season. He's got a .292 batting average, 9 home runs, and 22 RBIs. So I believe he's leading the team in RBIs with 22 RBIs. He'll be batting second. Stephen Piscotty, the right fielder, will be batting third. Matt Olson will be the cleanup hitter. Matt Chapman, the third baseman, will be in fifth. Mark Canner, the left fielder, will bat sixth. Chris Davis, the DH, will be in seventh spot. And the second baseman, Chad Pinder, will bat eighth. The catcher for tonight's game will be Austin Allen, who was batting ninth. And the Athletics starting pitcher will be Sean Manaea. So there you go. Those are your starting lineups. And now we will move on to the field. And in fact, we'll change the view a little bit. There we go. All right, so here we are at Progressive Field, and we're ready to get this one started. So Clay Buchholz is ready to start, and Tony Kemp will face Clay. So here we go. Yeah, and that is a fly out to center field. Kemp is set down. Marcus Semien will bat next.
Strike three.
Semien strikes out looking. Stephen Piscotty batting next. Piscotty continues. He's been hitting really well. I mean, his start of this particular season has just been tremendous. He gets another hit there, so it's a single to left field, and he will take first base. And up next for Oakland, Matt Olson with 2 outs, runner on at first. Matt Olson comes up with a line drive to center field. And now we have a decision to make. Do we send Steven Piscotty to home? Steven Piscotty to round third and try to score. Yes, ball is deep. Piscotty is an average runner and Freeman has a normal arm, so that is a yes. We will take that risk. And it pays off. So you can see the score is now 1-0 for Oakland. So that was a run scoring double for Matt Olson. And the Athletics get on the board.
Strike 3.
Okay. So Buckholz gives up 1 run and strikes out the next batter. And now we'll advance to the bottom of the first inning. And before we do that, we shall go ahead and take a look at the starting lineups for the home team. So the Cleveland Indians, you can see their record is 14-11, so not too bad. But here are the starting lineups. So leadoff for the Indians will be Jose Ramirez playing third. Batting second will be Jordan Luplow, the left fielder. And the number 3 hole batter will be Francisco Lindor, the shortstop. And so far you can see Lindor has been playing really well for the Indians. He's batting .337 with .402 on base percentage and has a .991 OPS. So pretty good for him. And the cleanup hitter for the Indians will be Franmil Reyes, the right fielder. Cesar Hernandez will be batting 5th, the second baseman. DH, Domingo Santana will bat 6th. The first baseman, Carlos Santana, will bat 7th. Roberto Perez, the catcher, will bat 8th. And Mike Freeman, the center fielder, will bat 9th. And you already have seen the starting pitcher for the Indians, Clay Buckholz. Okay. So, Sean Manai gets the first. No, not sure what happened there. I think. Okay, sorry, that wasn't an out. That was actually a ball, and Jose Ramirez is the one who's still batting. All right. There we go. Now we have some results. So he does ground out to the third baseman, and they get him out at first. So with 1 out. Nobody on. Jordan Luplow will bat next. He's set down. And here comes Lindor. So Lindor gets a single to right center field, and he'll take first base. Okay, so they leave a runner on at first as the side is retired and the inning is over. And now we'll move on to the top of the second. Leading off for Oakland, Mark Canha. Canha has a ground ball to the shortstop, and they retire him at first. The DH for Oakland, Chris Davis, batting next. Davis has been struggling a lot lately. And just as I say that, he comes up and hits a home run, ladies and gentlemen. So, there you go. He showed me, as I was talking about how much he's been struggling, he comes up with a home run. And he makes it now 2-0 for Oakland with only 1 out. So, and that brings up Chad Pinder, the second baseman. So there you go, back-to-back home runs. I mean, this is tremendous. Chad Pinder comes up and hits a line drive home run to right field. And now makes that score 3-0 with only 1 out. Keep it coming, guys. All right, the catcher, Austin Allen, will bat next. Buckholz strikes out Allen. And that brings up Tony Kemp. And Tony Kemp gets a walk, so he'll take first. Marcus Semien will bat next with 2 outs and a run on at first. and he's retired. So, good outing there for Oakland as they increase their lead to 3-0. We'll move on to the bottom of the second. Cesar Hernandez facing Sean Manai. Hernandez grounds out to the shortstop. They set out at first base. So that brings up Domingo Santana. Santana with a long single to right field. With one out, one on. Here comes Carlos Santana, the first baseman.
Strike 3.
Carlos strikes out, swinging. And that brings up Roberto Perez, the catcher. Perez hits it right at the first baseman, and they get the force out at first. That retires the side. Inning is over. The lead is still 3-0 Oakland. And so we'll move on to the top of the third inning. Stephen Piscotty leading off for Oakland.
Strike 3.
Oh, come on, Piscotty. Why are you swinging at that? That was a clear inside pitch, and Piscotty swung at it, so he strikes out swinging. That brings up Matt Olson with one out. Matt Olson flies out to right field. And now we'll see Matt Chapman, the third baseman, with 2 outs, nobody on. Chapman comes up and squares that one to right center field for a double. So Matt Chapman is on base. He's on at second. Runners in scoring position for Mark Canha. Oh, Canha comes up with a hit single to center field. And again, another decision to make here. So we know Mike Freeman doesn't have the strongest arm. The ball is a bit shallow, but we're leading by 3. We'll take that chance, and it does pay off. As you can see, the score is now 4-0 Oakland. And that puts Mark Canha at second base. So I guess they tried to throw out Marcus Semien and not give Mark Canha an opportunity to get to second base, because that wasn't too deep for him to run it through. Either way, we'll get Chris Davis now batting with runner still in scoring position. Looks like he caught all of that at the warning sign, and no, that will be a fly out to right field. So the Athletics increase their lead to 4-0. Score Oakland. And that brings up Mike Freeman, the center fielder. And so Manai just plunks him. So Freeman gets a free walk to first base after getting hit by a pitch. Jose Ramirez. There you go. Ramirez flies out to right field. Alright, Mike Freeman. Surprisingly, I wasn't expecting him to steal there, but he does have the ability to steal. Not the fastest runner, but he gets that one. So, Mike Freeman will steal second, and now the Indians have a runner in scoring position with 1 out, and Jordan Luplow, the left fielder, will face off against Manai. He grounds out to the third baseman, and they retire him at first. So now there's 2 outs with a runner in scoring position, and here is Francisco Lindor. So we're going to have to get smart here. Lindor is a tremendous hitter. At the same time, we can't... Yeah, no. Sean Manai is going to have to just face the challenge here. I was trying to get Manai to kind of sort of pitch out against Lindor and not give him anything to hit. But if Lindor gets on base and their cleanup hitter comes out, that's not going to be good news. So Manai will just have to face him. And that's what I was afraid of. But that's all right. So Lindor comes up with a run-scoring double. And the Indians are now on the board with 1 run. That makes the score 4-1. Still Oakland's game. So that brings up the cleanup hitter, Franmil Reyes, with Lindor in scoring position. And Manai gives up a walk to Franmil. Cesar Hernandez will now bat next. Hernandez will fly out to right field, so it doesn't come to much, but the Indians do get on board with 1 run. So we'll now move on to the top of the 4th inning. Leading off for Oakland, Chad Pinder, still facing Clay Buchholz. And Clay has had 4 strikeouts so far and 1 walk. He is safe. Wow. Alright, so Chad Pinder gets an infield single. I didn't think he was going to make it there, but yeah, he's on base. So, way to go. Now, we can start to take a few risks here. Roberto Perez, he is a good catcher. He's got a strong arm, but we could test him here. So maybe we can try and see if we can get clever here. So we do go for a bunt. It does work. The catcher, Allen, sacrifices himself with the bunt, and that advances Chad Pinder to second base. So now with runners in scoring position, we'll bring up the center fielder, Tony Kemp. Oh, Tony. That was in the dirt. Tony Kemp strikes out swinging on a pitch that was in the dirt. That brings up Marcus Semien. They still have an opportunity here if Semien can get something going. Doesn't work out, so he hits a short ground ball to the pitcher and they force him out at first. And that retires the side and the inning is over. The score is still 4-1 Oakland. And at the bottom of the 4th, leading off for the Indians is Domingo Santana. Santana strikes out swinging to an inside pitch. That brings up Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana gets a fastball and he hits it to right field for a double. And he will be the threat now for Cleveland. That brings up Roberto Perez, the catcher, with the runner in scoring position and 1 out. Perez will get a hit to shallow right field, and that will score the run. So the Indians get another run, and that cuts down the lead to just 2 runs. So it's now 4-2 Athletics. And now we'll get to see the center fielder, Mike Freeman. Freeman strikes out swinging. So that's 2 outs now with a run on at first. And Jose Ramirez, the third baseman, will bat next. And Ramirez hits a pop fly and he is retired, and that retires the side. Inning is over. So we'll now move on to the top of the 5th inning. Clay Buchholz is still pitching, and he'll face off against the leadoff batter, Stephen Piscotty, for Oakland. Piscotty's going to ground out to the shortstop, and they get a 6-3 out. That brings up Matt Olson, the first baseman, with 1 out. Nobody on for Oakland. Olson hits a shallow fly to right field, and he's set down. Matt Chapman will face Buchholz with 2 outs, nobody on. Chapman gets himself a walk. He'll take first base. Mark Canha now will get an opportunity to bat with a runner on at first and 2 outs. And he strikes out swinging at a pitch that was low and inside. That was a curveball on the inside, so Buckles retires the size and the inning is over. We'll now move on to the bottom of the fifth. Sean Manaea is still pitching. And he'll face off against Jordan Luplow, the left fielder. Oh, tremendous catch there by the second baseman. Wow, Chad Pinder showing off his defensive abilities there. So they get Luplow out with a nice little catch. So that'll be a fly out for Lindor. And that brings up the cleanup hitter for the Indians, Franmil Reyes. Reyes will get on base via walk. Cesar Hernandez with the runner at first. And Cesar gets a single to left field, which advances the runner to third base. So Hernandez will take first, and Franmil Reyes will take third. 2 outs still, and Domingo Santana, the DH, comes up to bat. Okay, so Sean Manaea gives up a walk to Hernandez, and that makes it bases loaded for the Indians as they face off against the first baseman, Carlos Santana. Outstanding. Santana strikes out, and the threat is averted. So Sean Manaea gets out of that danger. And the Indians leave 3 men on base. Now we will see the DH for Oakland, Chris Davis, lead off the top of the 6th as he faces Clay Buchholz. So Davis grounds out after hitting the home run earlier. And now we'll see Chad Pinder with 1 out. And Pinder hits a fly ball to right field, and he is retired. The catcher, Austin Allen, will now face off against Clay Buchholz. Austin Allen comes up with a double to right field. And just like that, with 2 outs, the Athletics have a runner in scoring position and threaten to score here. So Tony Kemp will get a chance to see if he can drive in another run for Oakland. And that's not going to happen. Tony Kemp flies out, and the side is retired. Inning is over. So we'll now move on to the bottom of the 6th. And with that, we'll start to make some strategic moves here for Oakland. Sean Manaea has already thrown 105 pitches, and that means that he is starting to wear off. So, Hendricks looks like he's kind of worn out there. Okay, we are at the bottom of the 6th, and that means we're going to warm up Lou Trevino. Let's see if Sean Manaea can get us past this inning, and then we can bring in Trevino. So Manaea gets the first batter out, and now Mike Freeman will face off against Manaea with 1 out. The score is still 4-2 Oakland. Manaea gets a swinging strike against Freeman, and now Ramirez. So Ramirez is hit by a pitch, and he advances to first. Ramirez is a threat to steal, so it makes sense to just let him know that we know what kind of games he might try and play here. It's a fastball, 94 miles per hour, and it's a fly out, which retires the side, and that inning is over. So now we'll move on to the top of the 7th. And the score is still 4-2. Excellent. So Marcus Semien comes up with the single to shallow center field. He will take first base. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a pitching change for the Cleveland Indians. And that's a fly out for Piscotty, but we'll take a quick look at the new pitcher for the Indians is Nick Whitgren. Nick's ERA so far this season is 4.76. And since we are still moving this one along, we shall get another pitcher warming up here. So we still have one runner, Marcus Semien on first base. Matt Olson is batting next, and only one out. Olson hits a pop fly, and he is retired. Matt Chapman will now face off against Nick Whitgren with 2 outs and 1 runner at first.
Strike 3.
Chapman strikes out looking. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the halfway into the 7th inning, and that means it's the 7th inning stretch. Alright, as we stretch and take this moment, we'll take this moment to quickly show you guys how things have been progressing for the Oakland Athletics. The front office has been making a few changes here and there. The most recent acquisition was the young rookie Frank De La Rosa, who was signed as an international free agent from the Dominican Republic, 19-year-old right-handed pitcher. On the way down was Ramon Laureano, who was optioned to AAA Las Vegas to make room for Breivik. And then AJ Puck, who came off of an injury, was sent down to AAA for rehab. So those are your major transactions and changes for the Oakland Athletics team so far. Alright, so Sean Manaea is still on the mound, but I think we will go ahead and make a move here and bring in Lou Trevino to relieve Sean Manaea. So a pitching change for Oakland as we start the bottom of the 7th inning. Leading off for the Indians will be Francisco Lindor. Nice catch by Marcus Semien. Lindor is set down. That brings up Franmil Reyes. So Lou Trevino gives up a home run to the cleanup hitter for the Indians, Franmil Reyes. That was a long home run, 409 feet. And that brings up Cesar Hernandez. So the Indians have now narrowed the lead down to just a 1-run game. The score is still 4-3 Oakland. Hernandez is set down. Now brings up Santana. Santana is also set down. Hit a ground ball towards the pitcher. Alright, so we'll now move on to the top of the 8th inning, and we'll see Nick Whitgren continue to pitch for the Indians, and Mark Canha will now face him. Canha strikes out looking. That brings the DH for Oakland, Chris Davis.
Strike 3.
Davis also strikes out swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts here. And we'll see a pitching change for the Indians. So they will now bring in James Karinchak. I hope I'm saying that right. 24-year-old. And so far this season he's pitched in 7 2/3 innings. He's got a 5.87 ERA for the Indians. And he will face off against Chad Pinder. But He's a right-handed pitcher. Pinder has been on fire. He's seeing the ball really well, so I'll leave him on and see if he can do something here. Wise decision, Mr. Manager. So I was thinking of making a change and bringing in a lefty to face the righty, but Chad Pinder has just been outstanding so far, and decided to leave him on. So yeah, he'll get on first base with the single to center field, and now we'll see the catcher for the Athletics, Austin Allen. And Oakland doesn't take advantage as Austin Allen strikes out swinging. So we'll now move on to the bottom of the 8th inning, and we'll keep Trevino in this game. The reason I'm doing this is I want to try and use my middle relievers here a little bit more, because our setup guys and our closer, they're a bit tired. So thinking about the next few games in this series. So there we go. Trevino gets the first out. Now Roberto Perez. Perez will get on base by a walk. Mike Freeman. Could it be? Yes, it is. Mike Freeman grounds out to the third baseman, and Oakland turns that into a double play. So makes it a quick inning for Trevino. Now, it would be prudent for me to now start thinking of bringing in our closer, but I'm going to use Jake Dykman, just because Liam Hendricks is sort of getting up there as far as being tired, and at the same time I'm going to have JB also. JB is ready, so we'll keep him there as we try to see if we can close this one out and hold off and win this game here. So Tony Kemp, the center fielder for Oakland, will lead off facing James Karinchak in the top of the 9th inning. This one is progressing along. Kemp is gonna strike out looking. Not the at-bat I was expecting there from him. That will bring up Marcus Semien, the shortstop, and Semien for tonight is 1 for 4. Semien flies out to left field, and I'll bring on Stephen Piscotty, who's also 1 for 4 this afternoon. Actually, not tonight. This is an afternoon, early evening game actually. Piscotty is going to fly out to center field. So 3 up, 3 down inning for the Indians. And now we still have Trevino on the mound. I will bring in Jake Dykman to see if he can hold off the Indians and give us a win here. So it's all on you, Jake. Let's see what you can do. All right. So Jake gives up a single to the first batter. That is Jose Ramirez. So Jose Ramirez is going to come up with a hit. Now this guy is definitely a threat to score. To steal. We do want to kind of hold him off here, and really hold him off here. All right. Okay. So not the kind of start we wanted for the bottom of the 9th inning here. So we do have a runner in threatening position as Francisco Lindor comes up. So Lindor is a righty, and right. New rule, guys. This is part of the new rules for the MLB. So Jake Dykman has to get at least 3 outs or pitch an entire inning. So he's only gotten nobody out. Oh, that's a tremendous catch. It does advance the runner to third base, but a tremendous catch by Mark Canner, and it looks like we may have an injury. So Mark Canner, after that tremendous play, is injured, and we have to take him out of the ball game. So he was playing left. We're gonna come in here and see whom do we have. Any batters. So whom do we have here playing? We can play left. There you go. I'm gonna bring in Robbie Grossman in place for Mark Cannon, who's injured. Alright, so the Indians are threatening to score and equalize this game, if not win it. And they will. So a walk-off home run by the cleanup hitter, Frankie Montes. And the Indians get this win. You can see the celebration there. It didn't work out for us. Maybe we could have managed that a little bit different by bringing in maybe the closer, even though he was tired. Liam Hendricks has been on fire for us with the saves. But I decided to utilize one of the setup guys that we have, who's normally pretty good. Jake Dykeman has been good for us, but this one didn't work out. So there we go. So we've lost that game, 6-4. It was a good battle. I think we played well, but in the end it didn't work out for us. So let's quickly take a look at the pitchers and see how they panned out. So Sean Manaea pitched for us tonight. He went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs, 2 of them earned. So a good afternoon for Manaea. Lou Trevino came in and he pitched in 2 innings, gave up 1 run. Jake Dykeman came in and gave up 3 runs. So and that cost us the game. For the Indians, Clay Buchholz, he pitched in 6 innings, just like Manaea, and he gave up 4 runs. So you could probably say that Sean Manaea actually had a better outing tonight compared to Clay Buchholz, so he wins that matchup. The bullpen for the Indians was the difference maker, notwithstanding Frankie Montes, their cleanup hitter there, who had a walk-off home run. Right, that's how you win in style. So that's how that one ends, and I'm a bit disappointed. I thought we could hold off and win that game, but on the bright side, we did win the series. This was a 3-game series against the Cleveland Indians on the road, and we won 2-1 the series. Yes, we lost the last game, but we did win the series 2-1. So as I mentioned before, we're still on the road, and tomorrow we'll head out to Houston as we face the Astros, and then we'll swing by Texas as we play the Rangers in a 3-game series, and then we'll head back home for another series against the Tampa Bay Rays. All right, that will take us into May. So things are progressing along. You guys just saw how that played out. We're still leading the division, and that's the way it is. So I think that was a fun game, fun ending there. Maybe not for us, but for Cleveland nonetheless. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like these videos, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you got comments, suggestions, whatever, hit us up in the comment section. I hope to see you guys in our next video. Thank you.